That was probably because
Did
he
you
was-
get past the us eating lunch part?
They did.
I enjoyed that.
Wow.
I took a picture of Caleb bent over in front of the camera at one time.
You video us eating.
Did they
What do you mean?
Did they get a trophy?
The video started like before the meeting started.
Oh, when we were eating. I got you.
I click on
I
it.
had Cecilia kind of move over to the
She's
middle of the
working on
room.
it
but-
right now, so that may be why.
Did you see when he
It
finally
worked this
realized that he
morning.
could see himself in the camera?
He got
And
right
so he
over there,
had,
was like-
I'll double check.
and then he got right up in it.
That was towards the end.
Yes.
Well, I started the
You need to
video
put your
when we
stand up.
started, but then the first 30 minutes were of us eating, and
No,
it was very loud.
We're
So I
gonna try to.
put timestamps in ClickUp where I posted it of when the meeting actually starts, when
Yeah.
Cecilia talks, when Mama talks, when you talk.
And we might can figure out a way to get one of those microphones that they've got that we can.
I have plenty of microphones.
I think that's what we'll do. Of course,
Yeah.
the problem with that was we didn't have one person except for just who was speaking. So that
It's not
Yeah.
gonna
that's
cut
the
off.
hard part about it. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll let people start popping on, and as they get, I told them to have a laptop readily available or close by. But announcements that you want to hit right fast.
Mardi Gras Parade is Tuesday the 17th. If you would like a sweatshirt, please make sure myself or Mom has your name and your size for the sweatshirt for $20. They'll be Mardi Gras themes.
Look at the game. Look at all the game.
There's that. I sent everybody a link to an innovative store. That Chrissy just clicked it and the link don't work. It did this morning, but she's tweaking some stuff. She was adding some hats this morning, so that's probably why it's not working right now. But it will be up. We are gonna do one more large order
It was.
before like single. So if there's stuff like I know Christy, some of your family wanted stuff.
Yeah.
Fiorella had some things she wanted to order. There's quarter zip, like athletic material quarter zip for women, men, and youth. There's quarter zip sweatshirts on there. So we'll be placing more orders. So we're gonna do one more large order. So shop on the site, see what you want, message me with what you want. We'll do a large order, that way the price will come down on things, because the price on the website is for if you just do like a one-off order, which would be more expensive. If you'll just let me know by the 20th, we'll place that big order and you don't have to reimburse until the order comes in like we did last time.
Y'all like that, or try to make it where y'all can go on there and don't have to wait on us, because sometimes you may want something right now, so.
And obviously t-shirts we have and you're
Yeah.
welcome to get, but the other things, there's gonna be hats on there,
Quarter
sweatshirts.
zips, yeah. And we'll start to gradually enhance that too. The shirts will
Yeah.
always be here that we've got, so.
I think that's, yeah, Chamber
Good.
Coffee is, next Tuesday. This is, they're doing a nonprofit showcase, so any nonprofit that's around here that wants to have a part in it will be there. It's at Athens State. And so Foundation 117 will be there, so if y'all are available and wanna stop by, it's Tuesday at 9 a.m. It's a good networking event anyway.
Up here.
At Athens, the
At the
cafeteria,
Yeah.
the ballroom there, where they do Rotary every Friday. That's where they set it up and everybody has booths and they allow us to speak and talk and all that too, so.
So that'll be Tuesday at 9.
Yeah, and anytime there's a chamber coffee, I know you've been to some, haven't you? So y'all have the access to go to any of those. But if nothing else, you get a free breakfast out of it. So, and sometimes it's decent food.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that's what I used it for whenever I first started. So,
Yeah. And the Mardi Gras Parade is that evening. It starts at 6:30. There are some events for like mask decorating and stuff that starts at like 4:30. I'll share the flyer so y'all have all the times. So if you have grandkids or kids that want to come and do the early stuff. And I think maybe that's it.
yeah.
Oh, I
Will you run up on my desk and get the? Go ahead, Dawn. You're good. You got something you want to add?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna pass these out. This is some new rules. For cash buyers, it starts March 1st. I'm just gonna give this to y'all and I will put it on ClickUp so that everybody can read over it. We have to start, it has to be reported. Any cash sale has to be reported. Especially if it's an LLC or corporation, whatever it is. I got this from the attorney's office this morning. It's kind of a late notice here. We got 2 weeks to prep, but
What is this for? Like a IRS implementation?
federal government, Yeah, basically, but any kind of cash sale has to be reported. And if you don't take care of it beforehand, it's gonna hold off your closing. So, we're gonna start prepping for it now.
When's
We know
this
what's
begin?
going on. March 1st.
So the attorney does a lot of this too, you know, they already
Yes.
do this, so what do they
Yes,
expect from us?
there's gonna be forms that we have to get the seller and buyer to fill out.
Okay, we'll update you as that
Yeah,
comes
I'll
along.
keep you updated, I just wanna get this out there.
Yeah, and y'all know, y'all done some deal, if you've done a cash sale, y'all seen the attorney kinda go through his checklist at the end of the closing and say, hey, you know, so that, all this has been done, this may just be a way to try to head it off, I guess, I don't know.
And I will forward everybody in the email that I received, and they kind of break it down in the email, but this is just, you know, a quick guide here. But I will share that email with everybody.
Okay,
It's
okay.
from the attorney's office.
Okay. And maybe we get one of them to, we may figure out a way to get one of, whoever's implementing this, or
Well-
somebody can speak on it to come in here.
Honestly, we use a lot of them,
Yeah.
but the first one that has responded to my emails about this sent this. So,
Who was it?
Alexander Quarter and
Okay,
Shelley.
we might get
Sharon
Zach
there.
to come do a quick
I mean,
rundown.
Sheree Barnes, yeah.
Or Sheree, yes, one of those. Okay. All right, we give enough time. With people on there yet? I don't know if anybody's watching, but anyway, I want to kind of do a quick breakdown right now. So, listing you've got right now. Of course, I helped you, so I'm not going to use you actually. How did you price your? I don't want you to count double circle it, but the house before that you've got listed or had listed. How did you price it? What did you use?
Talking about the one before
Yes.
Nibble? Pulled 3 that had sold within the last 6 months.
Right. What were
Yeah,
your
what we're
parameters
about-
that you used? I get their specs.
I usually put in the address and
Okay.
try to stay within 1 mile.
Okay.
I try to keep the same number of bedrooms, same year, or something very similar
Right.
to and square footage.
Okay.
So those are the 3 I focus on.
Right. And then you were using before we talked about it. How were you doing it? You were running the internal CMAs?
I
or-
did. It was called an easy CMA,
Mhm.
and it's just like a step-by-step process. You put the address in, and it takes you to the next step, and it shows a bunch of comps within the last 6 months. But it's kind of like a quick type thing. It's not
Yeah.
like, I don't think it was as exact as I want, because it gave me like a suggested price and then a range.
Yeah.
And it kind of fell on that.
Was it close after we?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
You
it was,
sorted it in
it
some too?
was close.
So did anybody else use that internal CMA, or have you used it that they've? How
I've
has
done
it?
it both ways.
Has it been? Did you feel like it was skewed, accurate? How did you feel? Go ahead.
Well, I just,
Or anywhere.
like you said, it gave a range and it gave different, you know, I just then went to the ones that were closest, you know, to the one, not closest in like distance, but closest related to it with everything the same, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
or very close to the same.
So your number one. So what I want y'all to. So what we're going to try to do is condense this down to where you have a. 'Cause I think you had asked specifically. When we did a brief one, it helped out a ton, I think. But just like 5 key indicators or checkpoints that you want to utilize that'll get you really, really close. Now again, there's going to be some ways you can get a little bit more accurate, or if you have questions, you can obviously. But the first thing I want y'all to know is to call on us, right? So we take pride in valuing houses from an appraisal standpoint, listing standpoint, or just helping people out. They're going to call. Y'all know you've got people that are going to call you guys to help try to figure out what something's worth anyway, even if they may not be ready to sell right now, right? So, but if their mother has passed away and they were inheriting a piece of property, they're going to rely on you, in theory, to help them price that or know what it's worth when they inherited it too. So. You can use this in multiple facets, but what we're going to do is just try to hit some key indicators of, go ahead, anywhere you want to sit here. Key indicators of quick things that you can plug in. Now, the main thing I want y'all to understand, this is the driving factor. So if you go to a house and they say, well, I've got 1,800 square feet, please, whether it's utilizing us to measure it like I did yesterday over at 251, or it's asking for an old appraisal. A lot of times right now, the people you are dealing with is likely had an appraisal done in the last 5 years. And you ask for that up front. I think most of you probably do that anyway. But this is going to be your driving factor. That's how we're going to get that range. Now, some people are going to put you on the spot and say, well, what's my house worth? You may not have the relationship kind of built with them yet. They're expecting on you to be able to spit out $1 per foot. Well, you have to think on the fly at that point and say, all right, based off what we've seen, it's been on the market for 1,800 square feet. Tax record shows 1,900 square feet. you can still use these to kind of get, you know, that end value, but you have to make sure they know until you, either you measure it, you have a certified measurer measure it, or somebody helps you, just try to be reluctant about giving them a value. Does that make sense? So I never, if I don't know their square footage, I never give them a value. I say, all right, based off what I've seen and expecting this to be the square footage they think, here's what we would kind of be close to. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to hold you to that value. If they tell you it's 1,900 square feet, you say, oh yeah, we're going to get 400,000 for it. You go out there and it's 1,700 square feet, they don't know why it's different, right? Then you have to re-educate them on why it's going to change. So just be very, very mindful of that. This is going to be your number one source before you give a value. Make sure this is correct, okay? So what we're going to do, I just want to hit these 5 or 6 checkpoints right fast that we're going to, I'm going to hit. I'm going to write them down, and Brittany's going to, we're going to have something in ClickUp today or tomorrow where y'all can utilize it. You know, so just something we can, because y'all are going to help me kind of figure out if we need to critique some of these too, that will help you guys understand or learn better. We've got our way of doing it. Of course, we were on a different side of things for the last 16, 18, 20 years, right? So we kind of see things differently, and we wouldn't expect you to see them that way, but we're trying to figure out a way to make it easier on you guys too. So square footage must be accurate. That's what it's going to be on there. However you use that. We went and measured one for Lottie. It was somewhat close, but that we're here to do that for y'all. So that, because it's a direct indicator of how the service we can provide, right? We did it for Donna
Just
and
did one for Ginger.
yeah, did for Ginger. Donna and Carol are listing one right now. They have an appraiser come out. That's even better, because you can upload the document that we provide or that you have and get it done that way too. So, all right, timeline. You used 12 months, you said? 6 months. So what I want to do, this allows you guys to get more accurate. So we're gonna, just to make it easy, I want you to use 12 months. So timeline is the next one. You can figure that out. I want you, and we're doing this to make sure it's very, very, it's blanketed, but it's simple, right? I want you to be concise with it. I don't want you, if there's ever a question, that's when I want you to revert to us. This is so you guys can do it initially and then check yourself once we look at it with you as well. So 12 months, if there's a ton of them, that's when you bring it down to 6 months, right? Any questions on that? So the timeline is that you're going to put sold, right, in the status, right? Sold homes. There's a date range. If you look to your bottom, pull up your MLS right now. You're gonna just go to search residential.
The Wi-Fi password is for sale, capital F, capital
Yeah,
S,
sorry, I should have started there.
exclamation.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So everybody pull up go to residential, and search like you're trying to just search on this thing right now. Because this is what you're gonna do. And we're gonna do this again here in a second. I just want you to get kind of familiar with it. With how we do it now too. So you see, everybody sees status right there. You put active, sold, contingent, pending, whatever you need to do. We're going to start with sold, and the timeline is going to be to your right and down, like 3 drop downs maybe, where it says close date or date range for the close. Make sure you use the close. There's a couple of pending or a couple of different drop downs, but you want to make sure you use the close date range. If you click that drop down, it's going to say 180 days, 90 days, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. I think it's the most it goes back to. You're going to start with 12 months. All right, good. Everybody saw that? Sees that now?
Not everybody's logged in yet.
My bad. I should have started with that. So once you get there, I'm just going to kind of give a breakdown, and we're going to do this together on one that I've got, and I went out, or Brittany's got it. I went out and measured one Saturday that'll be relatively easy that we can all put in and do together too. All right, the next is going to be probably your square footage, your county. So I like to do county too. Obviously, our MLS picks up Marshall, Morgan. Obviously, you're going to probably use some other, we're going to get to another couple drop downs that are going to help narrow that, but I always put, if it's in Limestone County, regardless of Athens City, whatever, I'm putting Limestone County in there. That way it's in there. Square footage. So once you know the square footage, we're going to go revert back to the top thing. Once you've got the accurate square footage, so now Ginger's got it on 251, we're going to do 300 up, 300 down. Does that make sense? So if your square footage is 1,600 square feet, if you know y'all gotten us to measure, you're going to go from 1,900 at the top end to 1,300 at the lower end, right? We try to, you want to get as close as you can. So I think trying to think of who I talked to last that had pulled one that, it was in the same subdivision, but it was about 1,000 square feet difference, and it's just gonna be very, very impossible for the appraiser to utilize that much of a discrepancy. The rule, I think,
It's 20%.
20%,
Let's say you don't have to do math, 300 up and 300
that's
down.
why we're doing it. We're trying to make it simple. So, and also too, like, we're gonna discuss this on the back end, but if it's in a subdivision versus in a rural area, you know, some of those things, we're gonna try and talk about the math of things too. So 300 up, 300 down. School district, I always implement that. You can use the map, but then Brittany and I talked about this, about showing y'all how to do that, but I don't want you to get to overcomplicate it, because then you rely on other agents to know where it's at on the map or put it incorrectly on the map. So there may be some you miss or don't pick up.
Especially if
obviously.
it's a new construction.
They never put them in the
A
right.
lot of agents don't verify the map and it pins it 20 miles
Yeah.
away from where it really is.
So this will help you guys when you're inputting your listing as well, to know you want this to be correct, because if somebody's doing this on your house, you want it to show up, right? So a lot of people look at the school district or the map. So make sure that you verify that to the best of your ability. And then school district can be skewed a little bit. If you use Clements High School, for instance, and you're not coming up with a lot of them that are kind of, if it's zero, you can usually get to West Limestone or Athens School District within a mile. You know what I'm saying? So just use common sense as to, you wouldn't want to say Elkmont and Tanner, you know, because those are so far apart, they're not going to go. But you can use West Limestone, Elkmont. Does that make sense if you're not finding something in the school district? So acreage amount, if applicable, it's going to say if applicable on this. I know a lot of you, like with the one in Harvest, you would be able to take your acreage amount. I always do it up and down there. So if it's 3 acres, I'm doing probably 1 acre to 5 acres. Does that make sense? We're going to figure out that range, because you don't want to skew it to a house that's got 100 acres if it's got 4. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to give you that accurate range. And then lastly, we're going to start with the subdivision if it's in a subdivision. You're going to start there at 12 months, and then we're going to reduce it from there. So any questions about any of that right now? Or about this process as a whole before I give you some OTJ here on the job training? Everybody good with all that? And again, we're going to give you guys a checklist of about 4 or 5 things that you can use if applicable that will allow you to do this before you. And again, remember, use your resources. We are your resources. You know, use us to measure the houses. Use us to bounce value off of. Don't just go out there blindly and think that, you know, Caleb's going to be mad if he asks me what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? So that we want you to be accurate and upfront, because what we're going to talk about on the back end of this is what you can comp right now is different than what properties are selling for. If anybody's ran into that yet. So in 2021, we had an issue, right, of plenty of buyers being out there, but what was lagging? What were we having trouble doing? Well, or the appraisers, right? So you were like, man, they were paying over asking.
Oh.
They were paying, you know, what at cash, you know, whatever that looks like. The issue was finding comps to justify the value then. Well, if y'all notice right now, what you're seeing from your listing on Open Circle is flipped, right? Now you've got a ton of comps out there. You can justify 600 on that house if you want to, but you ain't got no buyers. You know what I'm saying? So it don't do you any good. So that's another thing. The education side of this is what's going to come off of this. Just because you can justify the value, what Kayla's going through on May Lane, just because there's comps out there that's once supported this within 12 months, everything is good. If you had a buyer, you could justify the value, but there's no buyers, right? So that we're going to work on how you deliver that message as well. All right, let me see. I'm going to get you to read this out to them. What this is, and I wrote on the back of it.
Is this the next one?
Yeah, because this one I haven't done yet. I'm just going to let them
So y'all are
search it.
doing his homework.
I looked vaguely, but it's on my computer, but I want to see how close we can get. So, all right, so I went to a house Saturday where I'm about to do the same thing. It's a unique piece of property. It's on Highway 99. It's on 3.2 acres, I think. And I'm going to give y'all, it's in West Limestone. I'm going to start there. So we're going to go through this. The square footage, we know what it is, right? It's
1,600 square feet. Wow.
1,600 square feet.
2 bedrooms?
Yeah.
3.2 acres, yes.
1,600 square feet. So I want you guys to just, given the data that you've got or that she's going to give you, I want you to kind of do your own search and just kind of see where we line up. You can do the timeline if you need to. You can give them the. So we're going to start with 12 months, like I said, and then work our way back down if we don't have anything, or if we have too many.
This is on 99, so it would be West Limestone School District.
I think she built it in.
No, I was asking if you told them.
Oh, yes,
age
yes,
for
yeah.
criteria.
Well, age of the criteria, y'all know the age, there's an age drop down too, so you wouldn't wanna create, you wouldn't wanna use new construction for a house that was built in the seventies, right? I mean, of course, I know you mentioned it, so I didn't mention it, she did. There's an age drop down too. I try to get as close as I can, per the courthouse records, per an old MLS, whatever you need to use there, just get as accurate on that too. So we'll do that. It was
So
built,
he's just saying it's not a newer home.
Correct, it's built in 2013.
there you go. Yeah, sorry, I didn't tell them that. That's what you're asking.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Sorry.
I'm just hanging in there.
No, you're good. And this is- like I
2013
said-
is when it's built, and you don't ever wanna narrow your search down too much,
Yeah.
which is why you have 300 square feet on either side, just because you don't wanna throw something off that an appraiser or someone would use as a comp, and you're not gonna see it because you started out so narrow.
You gave them school district,
School district is West Limestone,
acreage amount you gave,
it's 3.2 acres.
timeline they would've done first.
Mhm.
Anything I'm missing? Anything else y'all need that you can, that'll help y'all get a little bit more accurate on this one? 2-bedroom, yeah, I wouldn't even do that just yet. I would just use square footage, cause the houses out in West Limestone, y'all know they skew, to a certain degree too.
So how do you
This
recommend
one's
this acreage?
Oh.
It's 3.2, with mine, I think I did 1 to 5, but you can do
I
1
normally
to,
like double it.
yeah, 1 to 6, say 1 to 6.
Something like that.
I only got one. When I put in the 1 and the 6, I only got one.
Alright,
Yay!
well, that's fine, we're gonna work through it together.
Fine.
Alright,
I
5,
got 6 because I put 1,200 to 1,800 square feet. It
Okay.
gave me some,
Yeah.
something to work
well, and like I said, you just try, what I'm gonna say is, 300 up or down. Yeah, so you guys decide, I mean, it's a judgment call on the appraiser side of things, so you just wanna be as tight as you can on that, in my opinion. Cause you don't want.
Because that doesn't mean I get any comps at all, right?
Well, we're gonna talk about how you can branch it out to make it, so yes, you're gonna make little small critiques after you run the checklist, then you may bump it out to 50 feet, you know, cause you might have some that were, 1920, that wouldn't have picked up at 1900. Does that make sense? So you bump it out a little bit, so, but yes, so, alright, 1 still,
Yeah, me and her both have.
alright,
We're on 99.6.
right past Elk River, you know the Gypsy Hill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think I had 5 or 6 up there, but we're gonna work through it and see which ones did y'all have.
Barker Road.
Barker Road. Is it active or sold? 12 months.
It sold January 28th.
All right. What were your parameters you used?
Oh, I did. I got 5 of them
All right. Sold.
sold.
All
yeah.
sold. Yeah.
Mhm.
What was your,
What was your criteria? Bring me on.
I did Limestone County sold last 12 months, 1 to 6 acres, 13 to 1,900 square
Mhm.
feet. West Limestone, not sold.
All right. What was different on yours? Age.
No,
They added
age.
the age. So, and again, what were your? Look at his and see if he's got any newer.
I didn't do an age.
run your search.
Yeah, I've got everything from 6 years all the way up to
Yeah.
25 years.
Okay. I think I may have done a 30. So West Limestone again. You try to get. I think I may have did a little bit older too. Whenever you got acreage amount like that, you can sometimes, just like you did where you bumped it out 100 square feet.
Well, and I put for age, I like to do kind of opposite, so not equal to
Yeah.
zero, you know, like, it's not under construction, it's not proposed to
Yeah.
do, it's not 0 to 5 years.
Yes.
So that gives me like,
Opens it up. How many did you come up with?
6,
Okay, good.
and Barker Road.
Yeah.
We're at like 10 years, so, yeah. Barker Road, his are
I put
50
not-
years, 50 years, 36 years,
See,
1 to
yeah,
5 years.
his it, instead of
And then Barker Road is the
So
only
1
one
to
that
5
kind
you
of
would
falls.
eliminate.
Yeah,
and then-
and the 50-year-olds.
All right. And then what did Barker Road sell for?
You know, it's not new.
It's not new.
425. How much land did it have?
Gotcha, so you put what it's not.
2 acres.
2 acres. How big was it?
1755.
Okay. Man, that's not encouraging. So I won't go tell this lady. We're doing this in real time. Alright, so what I would do here, so I'm looking at that, so, and then what you do is you get a little bit more specific based off condition, right? So at this point, you've already seen the property. You know if it's got LVP throughout and one's got, hardwood throughout. You know one's got a brand new roof, one of them has a, 40-year-old roof. Whatever that looks like, you then can even get a little bit more precise back then. So based off of me seeing the house on 99, I would pull Barker Road and say, all right, Barker Road is a little bit nicer than my comp or than my subject, right? I would say, hey, it's got granite throughout. She's got Formica. She's got 2 bedrooms where Barker has 4. Or you know what I'm saying? There's ways you would then even get a little bit more precise to find out what it is. And at this point too, once I figure out my range, if I'm only finding 1 now, or how many did you? It was really
He's
1.
one, yeah.
If I'm only finding 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to then branch it out to Elkmont School District probably, because y'all know as well as I do, there's a lot of houses that are in Elkmont within a mile, right, that are going to fall in the same criteria. So I'm going to open it up to Elkmont School District, right, to see what's out there further. So y'all do that for me now too, and see if there's anything else now that's closely related. And it don't help y'all not seeing the condition of the house, I know.
Mine, I had 11.
11?
5 now.
Okay, alright.
I'm choosing a 1,600 square foot house with 2 bedrooms and
Yeah.
a detached garage.
Yeah. Well, we ain't gonna
Was
go
it?
on that yet. We're gonna do a easier one. I just really wanted this. I knew I had this one on my desk that I had to go through. So,
High school.
see if I got any questions. Very good.
I have a question.
Fire
We
away,
might be about to get to this.
Alright.
But,
Which is
like,
strange.
I don't know how much really to add or subtract for an extra bedroom.
Right.
Pull those
Or
out and pull
if
those
there's
out
a
and do
garage
shit.
on one, the other one doesn't have a garage.
Yeah.
Or detached garage. Or
So,
pool.
yes.
Those are the things that I don't know.
Yeah. So this is what I usually tell people in that regard. So pool, detached building, anything like that is you're really looking at about half or a quarter of the value really of what it costs them. So if it costs them $50,000 to put a pool in, you might can give a little bit of value, but I don't want y'all making adjustments. I would rather use that on the back end to price it for them, right? To say, all right, here were the comps out here, and you break it down to them, not putting a value on their house. It's more about showing them why this one sold for this, the other one sold for that. Does that make sense? Instead of you, because that can get you in not in trouble, but it's more of a liability standpoint where if you go to saying, hey, look, I was an appraiser, I put $25,000 value on this pool. I would rather you say, hey, this was the comp range, 130 to 180 a foot. However, this 180 a foot had a pool where you don't have a pool. And that'll start too. They know deep down, you allow their imagination to run and say, man, if I was going to put a pool in, it's going to cost me $100,000. You let them value it. They know it's not going to be less than what we would give credit for. Does that make sense? That you use that to your advantage. So that's what I do. So whether it's an acreage amount, detached building, a pool, a barn, whatever, use that to reel them. Everything y'all are going to start to see what we're doing right now until it shifts or until we get to back to a seller's market, which we're still, I don't know, 90 days from, probably 60, 90 days from where I think the seller is going to have a little bit more leverage than the buyer. What you're trying to do right now is try to get them down essentially, because to keep you from having to go through what she's having to go through now on that noble circle, where they got this price in their mind back in 24 or 23, whenever that was, which would have been justified at the time. Well, now we're having to reel them back in as to say, hey, look, that's good, but there's nobody willing to pay it. That makes sense. So everything that I'm doing right now, and she'll tell you, I'm running my range and I'm significantly suppressing it, right? Because y'all know as well as I do, it does us no good to throw a house out there at the high end of the budget, even though we can justify it, and sit on it for 8, 9, 12 months even, some cases. So that's where if it's something that's going to be hard like that, that's where I would rather you bounce it off of us, and then I can help you deliver that. We're going to do a class on that, how you deliver that news as well, because it's a lot of times they have a value. It's just like whenever their granddad bought a house in the 80s or 70s, right? Well, the grandparent is stuck on that, right? He can't fathom that young buyer would go pay $125 a foot house. Does that make sense? So, well, in the same thing, the seller, who's his neighbor got 200 a foot for in 21, can't fathom that his house is only worth one. You know what I'm saying? So it's our job as the how we deliver this news, how we educate the buyer and the seller. It's not, because the comps are usually black and white, right? But if you deliver it in a way that is condescending or how your house is only worth it, you know, it's all about that delivery and how they respond to what you're telling them to. So just remember that, and we'll work on that too. All right, we come up with everybody's about the same now, I think, wasn't it?
Well, interesting fact, how many results did everybody get?
5. He had 5 or 6 at first.
Because, whenever we put in Elmont.
Yeah.
It was like 15 results or
Right.
something, he didn't have age in there. But then when you put Elmont in the middle school, it went up to 18.
Really?
Mine shows 16.
So
Yeah.
you have to, that's where, when you input stuff, it really matters.
Yeah.
Because evidently somebody put in maybe the wrong school district, or only put it in one area, not the other area. And
It may not
so,
show up. If somebody put in a middle school for Elkmont for one house and they didn't put a middle school in for the next house, it may not show one of them. Does that make sense too? So, I would utilize all of the elementary, middle, and high school if you can. All you're doing is trying to help, make this a little bit more accurate, because all this is relying on the agent putting it in correctly from the beginning. And it's hard. So you have to verify as much as you can, but that's the biggest thing, is just trying to get as close as you can on that front. So, all right. Good questions on any of that? All right, so that one's a little bit harder. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, we can do barley carrot. Do you have it? I know the stuff on it. It's fine. All right, so we'll do 1 and 2 right now that I've got. It's in Barley Terrace and Owens area, but it's still an Elkmont school or Elkmont address. But y'all know how Cotton Belt runs. Y'all are familiar with some of these streets that have an Elkmont address, but it's in West Limestone School District. But it is 1,641 square feet.
So we're clearing
So
out.
clear out.
Just hit clear all top right. Sorry.
It was 1631.
1,641.
Look at
we'll have
that.
to go back in and input
Look at
everything.
all of them.
Clear all up top right. Yes, ma'am. Cause I do that every time I pull this up, just because sometimes your MLS does crazy things. So occasionally mine will show. If I just go in there and start clicking, mine will pull up, and it's only pulling up like stuff that Innovative sold. Does that make sense?
Sorry, that's me. I set it as a default.
Well, that's
You can
fine.
set default parameters.
Yeah, that's fine. But I always, when I
We need
pull
to
it out,
fix it.
I clear it out immediately. Just even though I haven't pressed anything just yet, to make sure that we're starting from scratch too. Because one wrong little detail obviously will go a long way. Obviously, like middle school.
Also, really quick, and it
Yeah.
won't apply to a whole lot of properties, but just if you're getting in the habit of putting the county in as a criteria, just be careful when you do stuff, say in Anderson, Lauderdale County is 2 steps away.
Yeah.
If you're doing something in Harvest, Madison County's right there. County Line Road, Limestone's on one side, Madison is on the other. So just be conscious of how many miles away you are from the next county if you're putting a county in as a criteria.
Yep. All right. This one's gonna be a little bit easier. I gave you square footage, 1,641. It's exact because I did measure it. It is in the subdivision. I know is Barley Terrace, or
It's
is it
Cannon Farms.
So Cannon Farms is the subdivision. 2011.
Eight, I think it's within 6 to 10. 11 to 15.
Yeah.
I can pull it up on ClickUp really quick.
Yeah. So we know the age. We think it's going to fall. I'm pretty sure it's going to fall within the 11 to 15 range. But I would still probably do 16 to 20 because I know when this is a Lynn Purcell subdivision. So I just want to make sure I capture everything in that subdivision. So if it's 16,
Cannon Farms?
yes, Cannon Farms. Square footage would be, you can blanket it again if you want to do 1,300 to 1,900.
It was built in 2018.
Okay, so you're right. So what you could do, this subdivision is only so many years old, so
I didn't get any of that.
delete your age. Make it just.
We don't have to do Cannon Farms as a subdivision, does it? We just needed,
It should pull up, yes.
but I mean, that's gonna be a criteria.
Yeah, that would be the pounding criteria. If you put anything in, Cannon Farms is
Yeah.
where I
You
would
can-
start, if it's in a
Yeah,
subdivision.
any subdivision, because that's where the appraiser's gonna start. They're not gonna go outside of your subdivision, even though you've got comps. Let's just say if this was in, what's a subdivision y'all deal with a lot? Let's just say Legacy Grove. Everybody knows Legacy Grove over there off Morsel Road. They're not going to pass a comp in Legacy Grove or off Morsel Road to go to Cantera or Canebrake just to justify your value. Your seller will. They're gonna want you to do that, but they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna pass one in there up because it's in the sub. They have to use that first. So that's where a lot of agents get in trouble to try to justify those values in comp. So, what else was it? Age. We know with county that the
It's a
subdivision
typical lot.
is going to tell you first. You know, that's where I want y'all to know the square footage and the subdivision. So this would be a pretty similar one, I think. It's probably, I think it ranges in,
I got three.
take away your age breakdown.
Take out,
Elmont, cause it's my son's
I got 4.
I didn't put any school
I think it's
district,
about
and I just have three.
It's all 168 a foot, 169 a foot.
Yeah, I think Cannon Farms kind of did that for us.
Yeah, and that's where, so that's how you can knock out a lot of that.
I didn't know they put the
Yeah.
yeah. And then I just didn't put the school district.
There you go.
Somebody sold this one for the bridge.
I was like,
Should be 3 of them in there. I know 2 or 3 of them on Barley Terrace for mine.
I do too.
3 of them.
Yeah.
Is one of them,
she puts her, I don't think
Younger?
she did she do 300 3 over on the
oh, square footage.
Sometimes she does
Maybe
more
not.
300. She's gotta be different, Miss Lottie.
13 and I got 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's what it should be.
No, that's what I did.
Yeah.
So what you can do to eliminate age, even if it's a subdivision like that Lynn did, all of them are gonna be relatively similar in age, so you can even eliminate that and just start with square footage subdivision.
I didn't mean to.
Because there are some subdivisions too that the square footage is the most important thing. That's why I started with it. Because you can put in the subdivision over in Whispering Pines or Canebrake even, they range from say 1,800 square feet all the way up to 4,500 square feet. So that's where you want to be careful on the square footage.
Yeah, it didn't change anything.
Here.
I
Yeah,
have
but I mean, you're so precious.
Did all of that range, was it like 168 or 169 a foot, something like that?
162 to 170.
Okay. I've got,
Yeah,
I didn't do, I did sold,
Okay.
I didn't do contingent.
No, and also take out your agency, that shouldn't be it.
Appreciate the therapy dog.
there's a monkey back there too, if you want to go a step further.
A therapy monkey.
He's gonna enable it. It's a little more
That's why I let her bring it in
relaxed
here.
now. It's more relaxing.
Emotional support
Wait
monkey.
a second. Okay, change this. Make sure your date, if you're doing 12 months back, make sure it's on the close date
Oh,
Yeah.
and not status date or input date or anything like that.
that's it.
I
There you
have
go.
done that.
So make sure your 12 months is on close date.
Right.
Yep.
Right, I got, that's what I did.
So that'd be what, that's why we're doing this and not just giving y'all a form right now.
Yeah.
Alright, so y'all, that was a little easier. I think just about everybody, once we fix that little drop down, everybody should have the same because it's all, I mean, the subdivision is the key indicator once you figure out square footage. That was a little easier,
Until you get a Canebrake.
And then,
well, and even then too, our square
Totally
footage,
different.
our square footage should save you there too.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm saying to them. You got some on Crooked Stick that are 1,600 square feet. You got some on Wingfoot that are 4,100 square feet. So those would obviously not comp out because they're in the same
And you got
subdivision.
the brand new ones. And
Yeah.
and once you get to these, once you have these, then you'll look at the images to see
Yes.
how they compare to your property, if they're superior, if they're not. All of these range in the same square footage, dollar per foot for the most part, 162 to 168,
168.
161 to 168 a foot. And then you'll just pick out the best. If you have three, that's what an appraiser's gonna do. Find the best ones
Okay.
and then narrow in on that dollar per foot or that
So
based off amenities or whatever.
go back to your
I was looking at this right here.
look. This is Taylor.
Yeah.
We're so spoiled.
Yeah. So, and there's also, if y'all look at whatever it brings up, so you have to drop down to like 4 of them or something. If you'll look over here, make sure yours is gonna be fine, I think. So what some MLSs do, or some criteria, whenever you pull it up, it'll show you a listed square footage price and a sold. So just make sure you're looking at the sold too.
If you didn't know, just because I just added it to Vance and he
But
didn't
you don't
know,
want that. Yeah, I'd rather-
when you have your search criteria pulled up, where it's showing you the 4 sales, those information blocks that you see, you can add to those, or you can take away some of them. So the things that I'm gonna look for when I'm looking for comps is going to be the subdivision, it's gonna be the age, it's gonna be what it sold for, the square footage, maybe bedroom, bathroom count, so I don't have to click on each MLS to see that information. You can have it show up in that grid
And
all in
another,
one place.
and another thing that I learned a long time ago, the reports, you can go to a CMA report
Yes.
and you can go to summary, CMA summary, and then it has everything pulled up, like how long it was on the market. Sometimes I like to look at days on the market, you know,
That's my
because
favorite.
And it should
I
say that.
love, if
So
y'all are
go
new and
back
don't
to
know
your
about
search.
the summary reports, I love those.
Go
And then
back
this
to
is
your,
where it shows the sold,
Yes.
the listing price, the sold price, and what it sold per square foot.
So what we'll do too is we can add this to your checkpoint.
Look at
So I
this.
back out.
Yeah.
You can add it to this where it
I
also
did it.
shows on that
Oh, and I
too.
don't have to go to the report.
So mine shows cumulative days on market,
See, I don't
list
know
price,
what
sell
I
price.
had. I've never been told how to
We're
add
gonna,
that.
she's fixing to do it for you before you leave. So,
And forget what I just told you.
no, it's still, it's more
Well,
about how you
and
visualize
two,
it.
I like to print that one when
Yeah.
I go and talk to the
Yeah.
client about.
Yep,
The
so it
report.
shows you
I can see it.
days on market,
So
cumulative
it'll
days
have
on market, things
everything
like
there,
that.
it gives you the
That's the
median and
shooter
all of
that
that.
rocks in.
Why have I never known this?
That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, that's what we're
But then
doing.
if you wanted it here, like, do you really need to list all this code? No, you just go to customize and
She
field,
just said go to customize. Field.
and here,
Not
you
us,
can do,
body.
type in DLM and see if
Okay,
it
so-
comes up.
The whole time, all these years.
Sir.
And
You
you
only
just
had
click
this
what you
MLS
want,
for
you're
20
gonna
years.
put add.
Days
and you
on
can
market,
put it
there's
in
less.
there.
Yeah, you're right.
Anything you don't want,
10 years,
Add.
10 years.
take out, click, and do
Let's
remove.
see if it added it.
You can also reorder
Yes, I
them.
just added it. Woo-woo.
Acreage.
Days on
Um,
market.
Yeah, mine shows acreage, days on market, list price to sell price delta. That's the stuff that I use to.
And then you
Okay.
can
And then
arrange
just
them,
copy
so
what you
you
do
can
then,
click
and then I'll
and like
have to
move
ask
up
you.
and
What's
down
this
if you want
little
them in a
bug here?
specific order to
So
show
you
up.
do cumulative days or
Uh-huh.
But
just
that way,
days?
everything shows up
They're
on
cumulative.
this screen
And
here.
that'll show
So
you
you
how
don't have
long.
to go
Thank
in
you.
each
So
time.
we're about to go a step
Quick.
further too.
It's
With
a
What
quick
is this
look
little
at it.
plug thing? Do you have this?
Oh, what?
Okay, that's cool.
This looks like a plug.
I did not know you.
show you can show acreage amount. You
Yeah.
can show everything on there.
That's
All right. So once you do this, so here's what. So you can either run a report like Karen said, or you print it off where you've got all this on your at your fingertips where you've got it. How to go a step further, Ginger. How you deliver this information. The next thing you can do is I pull actives. So I pull I eliminate my sold data and I pull actives in the same criteria. Now again, this is whenever you're having an issue. With Barley Terrace, it was pretty straightforward. There's 5 houses in there that have sold. They're all been within the same $1.50 a foot, I think. So that they sold for. So, but if you're having issues and they're skewed, and you're using a broader search that's not in the subdivision, I'm pulling all of my actives to say, all right, here's the comps that we've got. You had a high or low end all the way up to a high end, like you're going to have on Noble Circle. But here's what you're competing with outside of this. Does that make sense? And if you pull up, say, 20 actives that are all at the high end of this market or at the high end of this range, then you go to days on market and say, all right, they listed this thing back in January or February, whatever it was. They've been sitting for this long at this price. Do you guys feel that's going to be a safe play to throw your house on the market at?
Depends on how motivated they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Similarly with pending and contingent, you
Yes.
do the same thing. You just don't know what they have it under contract for, but you can turn and look at the days on market and see how many price drops they've had
Yeah.
to help influence
Yeah.
that decision.
So that customized checklist that you are going to create or have created will help you even get further, accurate information. So that's what you're trying to do. So all this is going to revert back to their timeline and their intentions too. So the people who you go and meet with and they're like, oh yeah, we got plenty of time. We don't care if it sells or not. Well, y'all know after a week on the market, they won't know why they sold. You know that what their real intentions are, how they really feel about what's going on. Some people you won't hear from, they're like, yeah, just let us know what happens. I've got one over in, the one I did the tour, when I sat on the toilet in the middle of the road, they really don't care. I haven't heard from them, we hadn't had one showing. It's a very, exclusive, I mean, it's a very, unique house out there in West Limestone, but they don't care. They're gonna go to the fall, if they don't sell it, they're gonna pull it off. So, but we established that up front. We gave them a price range. I pretty much found out what their bottom dollar was of what they had to have. That was within reason of what I found, and we went straight there. If we get a buyer, great. If we not, then they're gonna pull it off. Now, how you address the buyer, the sellers that don't feel that way, that they told you they did up front, but then now they're wondering why that ain't sold or why there's no showings.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you combat that. You find the active data out there. You say, look, here's where we're priced based off what they're looking at these new constructions over on Quinn Road, or whatever. You find a way to kind of get the information across in a very, I'm not polite, but just a very educational way, right? So that way it's not on you, it's not on them. Here's the data, So, all right, you want to do another one? You want to do Noble Circle? Is everybody, you've got a listing on, so I want you to redo it now. Given the data that y'all know or the specs that you know, I want you to do one of your listings now. So you can do Harvest, or you can do Orleans Drive, or, whatever. Find one that you've got, Hayes Mill, or, do one right now and see if you come up with anything different than what y'all remember telling the sellers at the beginning of this.
Cool.
You can use Cane Break.
Okay, I was going to say, I
Piney
can do
Creek.
Elkmont, but you know how those comps are. For
No, do Piney Creek, the one that I had.
When you're only pulling up one, what's the first thing that you would expand on?
Where is it?
It's Noble Circle. This is Westgate, 'cause there's only one comp.
So I would branch out to Watercrest there too. Because you got their right side by side. There you go.
so that
And then you'll have to probably do page for some of those.
So
then you know what I'm saying? Westgate hasn't had any new construction, but Watercrest is
Okay,
going to
to
be
pull
Do you
comps
normally do that?
from
Is like,
Tennessee that are on the line,
or if it's not
like that are
subdivision,
only
like
in
you
the,
just branch it
rail
out
track.
like a couple?
Yes.
To use
So-
for
So what I'll do
comps,
is if
you know what I mean?
Watercrest
Like Ardmore, for instance.
has some, but they're all new construction. I would wipe
Or
out
just kind of be
subdivision and then go
careful.
straight to my age.
That one was
and,
kind of tricky
West
because we
Limestone,
had the
Clements,
on the
Athens.
appraisal side of things.
However you need to open that up. It needs to be a 35611 zip code over there.
Yeah, I got it on Athens.
Lenders and
It's just, I've always
Lateral
adjusted stuff.
underwriter.
No, I
And
would
I don't
prefer.
wanna adjust if I don't have to.
Yeah, that's right. You want to be able to show them one. You know what I'm saying?
I have a
Two
question.
sales
Fire
in
away.
Tennessee, or why are all your new sales in Tennessee?
The house
Like you don't
on-
understand.
Two
The
people
house
one.
sits
Yes.
3 steps
was built
away
in
from the Tennessee
1951.
line.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
But
if
it's
you
been
do that,
completely
I would just make sure
renovated.
that at
Yeah,
least
so the age
something
range
something
will not
in
change though.
the
Now the
state
condition,
outline
whenever you start
to
comparing
whichever
to
side
other
you're on,
houses,
Yeah.
condition will
validates
change, right? Or how
the
you
price.
value the.
Right, yeah.
So if you got a house that's
It
built
can
in the
still be
fifties that still
supported
look
from
like
other
it versus
states,
a house
if
that's
that
built in the
makes
fifties
sense.
that you.
So
Yeah.
if most of the comps
They're-
you're finding
you
are
can
in
comp it,
Tennessee,
but it's gonna be
just
like
make sure that
opposite
there's
ends of the
something on
spectrum.
that
Does that make
side
sense?
that
The
also
1950s
shows
house, that's still the
Does that make
same,
sense?
is not gonna be,
That does make sense.
as comparable as they
But
do.
a lot of appraisals.
You may still blanket it and say, hey,
appraise
here's a house at that
their-
age, but you can probably
will
throw it
have
away
their
and
license.
blanket it for one
Yeah.
that you built 20 years ago, or 25 years ago too, so. You just don't want brand new because it's not a brand new construction.
Let's see how process has Robert.
What do you think?
Wrong time to
What
be
you call
doing
them?
this, huh?
Yeah.
Lord, I think,
My chair breaking your
I think
chair.
it's fast right now, but.
It went through the hole.
Okay, just,
I'm
okay,
gosh.
hang on, let's, move.
I was like, how did I break
Maybe.
your chair? Okay.
You
Chair,
can- she's-
Floor's breaking.
if the floor breaks, it went right in that, we'll fill the gap there.
Need some wood.
Where's our construction?
Wood buddy.
Give me some
Wow.
call. Get some call.
Well, I was
What do you
sitting in one
see?
the other day and the screw fell off. That's what I
So
was like, oh no,
everything
the
I've got
chair's
coming back
breaking.
as a comp, age-wise,
Yeah.
is much
Thank you
different.
for saving me.
Because this one, I was 3 years old.
You condense the age down.
My toes.
Yeah, when I condense the age down, I'm only pulling up like two, and that's still pulling in ones that are way older.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a new construction, but it's not old.
What's the square footage?
It's 29, so I have it set at 23 to 32.
That's
Do,
a tricky place to pull
yeah.
if there's nothing in the subdivision.
go back down to your school district, or do Athens, cause it's in Athens City, right?
Mhm.
Do your zip code is 35611. And eliminate your, subdivision.
Oh,
You still have your water, see if that opened it up any.
it gives me 7.
See what those look like. So that added 5.
Yeah, let
Okay.
me take down that age a little bit. That still brings me 7.
See what that looks like.
That's so.
What are you doing? I thought you were looking
Is
at
that light just on your laptop and you put the sticker to where the eye is underneath it? Or is that what it's called? Right here.
Oh, no, it was just.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a
Actually,
clever,
a new
Hey.
computer.
a clever placement of that sticker. Sorry.
I thought you were looking at her face.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, I thought I put the original, but I was heck.
And the fun thing to do too is you can use this on your personal residence, so that way you always know too, like it'll help you. You can go practice measuring, you can go ahead and find, the age of your house, do this on your own personal residence, that way you know too, kind of what, y'all gonna have to fill that out eventually one day. You've got all that information there, did that help you?
A little bit. Now, once you have a range of prices,
Where does yours fall within that range?
oh, mine's on the high side. The
Yeah.
range goes all the way from $109 to $185.
So, and you're at,
I'm at 183.
okay, so you're at the height of
I'm
it.
at the top of it.
That's 180 whatever for the high end comp dollar per foot. What does it look like compared to yours? As far as pictures and amenities and
Pictures. It's more of a farmhouse feel. Very sleek. Age is similar.
So if you do have something you'd like to list and somebody decides they wanna get an appraisal, is it pretty safe to just
similar?
I mean,
trust the
Or would you
appraisal?
say it's
Yeah, I mean,
more
for the
On
most
the
part.
list price?
Yeah,
I
and
would
then
say it's
you
probably
get
a
the
little more, but
the
I think a lot of it
burden
is
off of you,
mine, too.
and it's like, hey, you hired this guy, this is what,
Right,
what it's worth.
right, yeah.
But an appraiser too is only going to, they're gonna use comps, right? If they don't have a contract to work off of, which is what you're suggesting right here, I like those better, because they don't have a value to hit.
Yeah.
They're gonna put a realistic opinion of price on it.
Right.
It's very bright.
And that's,
Feel good?
expense that they're gonna have.
What'd you do? Did you do Neely or
did
Stewart?
Neely.
Neely?
Yeah.
Where's it stack up?
Well, I only have one that sold the last
And they're the
one.
ones that we.
What was
In
that?
that,
That's
in that,
crosses everywhere.
Yeah.
Square footage.
and it was one, and it sold for
Anybody who goes to look at it,
130
it's like, well, we-
4 square foot.
And you're
I
listening?
have theirs listed at
Absolutely.
140.
And
Okay.
those, I mean, they bought that.
Now, I had so many shows
Mhm.
on that,
But no offers.
but no offers, and they love the house, they just don't like the neighborhood.
Yeah, location. So
Targeted,
you,
Yeah.
investors.
And yeah.
Well, no, I don't really have
what's
any
the
that I
purchase
work
order
with.
list price?
Right
205.
across the way
Yeah,
from
and
it.
maybe a little outside of the
Yeah.
rental side of things to make it work.
Yeah.
Pictures upstairs.
I wish, if I could get below 200,
Yeah.
I think we might be good enough.
But
Well,
it's
at-
one of
at
those things
some
where it's
point-
family, so.
I mean, I'm
they
telling you, I
listen
had
even
5
less than
showings
they
this
do.
weekend.
I know.
So.
So,
It's
Answer your
crazy,
question
like, the
with
showings are
results you get.
Which is
and it
rule of
ranges
thumb,
from
telling you your
109 to
prices.
180, Whatever.
so what I've seen, so I've had a bunch of showings and then no offers. Once you get to about
Check the check.
90 days,
At the
Which
top.
we
how-
there.
how long you're going, then that's when you start to,
And
not necessarily,
And I start looking. at it.
suggest, but maybe
Okay,
advise
say this
them
one
to, hey,
has a pool and 4 acres.
you've got a lot of
Not
traction where the
normal.
views are gonna be the same, right? So you can look at your analytics on there, see how many people are looking at it online organically,
It's like 5,
and
yeah.
say, look, you're averaging
And I'll look at
300
this
views a
one,
day.
and I'll be like, oh,
Okay.
Look at
We're
the pictures,
averaging
this
one
one's similar.
showing a week or two
Next.
showings a week,
And
whatever
then
that looks
when I
like.
get done with them, I hit the back
And we're
button.
not doing it.
We hadn't had any constructive criticism that we can do to fix it.
No,
I do
no, we cannot
check
change the
at the
neighborhood.
top.
So,
Then it's
at
gonna
some
bring
point, you
only the
have to
ones
have
that
that
I feel are
conversation and say,
Okay,
you
maybe
know,
we
the
should
market
look
is
at
spoken. Yeah.
And look, and usually.
So made
when
it
you
easy
do
about the
that,
house and home, so we got
usually the
30
range is a whole
three
lot
showings,
tighter, and it's
one offer.
a better
Yeah,
answer, and you're
so
like,
he went through the same thing over in
I really
Huntsville where the
am.
market is just very sharp.
Like even if all the.
You have 30
fees
shillings
were
to one
comparable,
offer, that tells
it's
you
like
you are
that. Yeah,
overpriced.
justified.
Yeah, at that point it was easy. Just tell them like, hey, we had a bunch of people come look at it, but
Yeah.
nobody said
You got a
anything
really
after
good
that.
sample size of data at that point.
I didn't realize that if
Karen,
it doesn't
the
fit into a
chat
subdivision, then just do.
Neely Hill
Same.
is,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
Tanner's
Same price
is-
point, I think, where y'all at? What is 251 listed at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the list price, the overall price of?
$199.
So still, have you had any showings yet?
I think it was under 200.
Everything.
Well, like sometimes,
Three, then to
One,
five,
205.
then to seven, then to 10.
Yeah.
If it's in the city. I
So,
know
in
We
addition,
started at 210.
yeah, that's, so,
We
in
got a
it,
lot of showings at 210.
when you get a
And I'm
decent
telling you,
amount of
feedback's been
results,
incredible
that's when you
on
need
the
to
house.
stop.
It's like
And-
yeah.
Because a lot of times it's hard because you know what they want and you know.
Well, and unfortunately, you know, we can't
Oh, if I just.
tell people about,
When
you know,
we're half
demographics
mile.
or location or
Then
anything like that, but a lot of times the seller knows. They
Well,
know
and I
that.
tell them, I said, sellers are real listening. The only reason they're moving
And
is
see, I've
because
always
he got a job in
like,
Mhm.
try to
Wayfair
put in a
Church
value
Christ.
for veterans
Yeah.
and stuff, but
downtown
this is a lot
houses a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when
So
you
now
get,
they're making a job.
the harder ones
We're
are.
like
that
30
you
minutes
make
late.
the amenities.
He's a youth minister, he's making a 50-minute.
That's when you
600
call.
Square foot
Yeah.
house with 2 bedrooms.
Well, yeah, and that's like,
But
Yeah.
the generic,
I know you love to,
pretty basic houses.
but,
Yeah.
well, that's why I'm
And
calling
we were
over
under
my
contract
parents when they were talking about selling, they have a ton of
was the first
visitors.
right.
And then 2 houses on the
Contingent and
property.
first right.
Yeah.
And
In the pool.
a pool,
Yeah.
and one house is
Oh,
brand
15
new, and
months
one is
was
a
that
little
first
hunting cabin.
Yeah.
And
some of them are gonna like-
farms and-
So there's some of them where you're gonna be, you know, this, the number side of this thing goes out the window, right? Some of it may be a location thing that you can't fix. You know, right? You're gonna have to have that conversation. Some of it is a mind shift where some people are looking at 200 or less and you're at 205, even though you can justify it. You may have to drop it down like they did to 199.9. You know what I'm saying? So there's some of those things that you can't really teach. It's more about being in the market and seeing what's out there and seeing what your buyers are saying about other properties too. You know, and I'm using other properties as examples. So all this.
It's to understand that it doesn't matter what the comps bring, it's what a buyer will pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and all this is an extension of you being able to, you know, take prior examples or knowledge, right, and present it to them, you know. So you've dealt with something maybe not exactly like what's on Harvest Road, but you can tell them, I had something similar that you gotta be very, very delicate in how you price it. Does that make sense? So yours over in Tanner, or in that location where you know that's gonna be a hurdle you're gonna have, you have to be delicate in how you deliver that, but they know they've lived there. And even though it's the best neighborhood ever, they always have a perception of what, and perception is reality, you know. So just there's some of this that you're going to have to throw away your numbers or your equation and say, hey, here's where we're at in the real world here. Here's what, you know, here's your comps. Here's what, you know what I'm saying, like 100 acres, right? So again, some that you're going to have to get creative, you know, and rely on past experience, or just call us and use somebody else as the bad guy, or have them order an appraisal. You know, if they don't have a contract to work off of, they're going to give you a real opinion because they don't have a target to hit. You know, so I don't mind that.
Well, the fact is, I mean, looking at this, the more likely it's not gonna appraise. If we got a full price offer,
Yep,
205,
and you can use that.
we're gonna go back to the negotiating table anyway.
So you can use that as not you saying, hey, here's what we need to do. You can say, hey, here's what I'm more worried about even if we did get a contract today. You know what I'm saying? So all this is about taking the data and the things you have to help educate them, you know, as to why they should do certain things. They'll make their decision for themselves. You just have to put the stuff in front of them. So.
How do you make a comp for a house built in 1890?
Unknown. Is that the one on Cedar? Yeah.
Yours, I have yours.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The active one.
Yeah. Pretend like you didn't ask that question. I'm gonna have to deal with that a whole lot. So
There's
again.
not a lot of those.
Yeah.
There isn't. I know.
Yeah.
I looked for them past 5
Yeah.
years.
But like that, if it's whatever special
Yeah.
features, right? What's the standout and what makes it unique, and that's the value to a buyer, right?
It's the same as what she's dealing with. Yeah, that's right. So and that's where you have to be. You have to go back down to like what I discussed earlier, is not necessarily what we can justify or what's out there. You don't want to be robotic. You know, it's kind of like when you're talking to them when you're using Chat GPT versus you're talking to them. You know, you don't want to be robotic. Like this is really good for what y'all are primarily going to deal with. You know, a house in Legacy Grove like Carol's got, or a house in, you know, whatever. This is what that's for. You know, it gives you guys the ability to be confident when you price it without seeing it or after you get the square footage, right? There's some things you're going to have to be an agent and learn and do just by doing it. You know what I'm saying? So that, which is what you're dealing with, which is what you're dealing with on the 100-acre farm. So there's some things you're going to just gradually learn how to handle those objections anyway. So this was more about you taking a house that's a little bit more common and being able to say, hey, I feel really good about this price point, and say it with confidence to the seller.
How should I learn this when I got my license?
Partly our fault, so I apologize.
It was y'all's fault.
Yeah, so,
But we're making up for it now.
yeah.
There's beignets and, oh, you can't have them. Never mind.
Well,
You're here first.
well, and also, so too, you learned now too that it's not taught anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's
so,
true.
So it's not, people have their ways, like you had the way you've always done it, or you've had the way you've always done it. You just never been taught properly, and that was, like I said, that was my fault. Then and now, you know, which is why we're trying to get ahead of it, you know, now. So.
Well, at that point in time, people were paying whatever. It was 2020.
So-
It was different.
So-
Yeah,
It-
true.
It was a different ballgame.
Yes.
Right, and I didn't do listings up until the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Before, I have only worked exclusively with buyers.
Yeah.
It wasn't a choice. It
So-
was just what happened.
That's where you take market shifts, you take demographics, locations, buyers, interest rates. You have to, just like I said, you learn how to be an agent in these types of markets, you know. So you can take the numbers side of things or the checklist and do it to a T. But sometimes you have to get creative, like Karen said, where the market was just different, you know. So, and this is not the last market forever, right? What we're dealing with right now is likely going to change here in the next 4 months, which for the better with these houses that have been sitting. But then you're gonna have another problem at that time. We're gonna try and keep out, you know, and stay in front of it. So, but that's all it was today. Really, just I want y'all to kind of go through some of these. We're gonna have a more in-depth checklist we're gonna put in ClickUp that you can kind of utilize just quick. But again, don't forget, like I said, use your resources. We are your resource. Call us, have us measure it, bounce pricing off of us, whatever it is, you know, because you're all gonna deal with something that you either have never dealt with, or it's been a long time since you've dealt with it, or it's a very unique situation. 1800 house on 5 acres with a 2-story
Well, in
straight.
the mini farm situation, that was a new animal, literally for
Yeah,
me, because it had so many bonuses to it,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
The pool and the RV
But-
cover and.
And that's when
She
you
always
can't come up
used-
with like $1 per foot because the amenities skew
uniform,
it,
right?
the acreage skews it. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, use us. You know, this is just to allow you guys to where if y'all are put in a situation, because I know you've all been there, because I'm in it every day, where they call you and say, what's my house going to bring per foot? Well, when you don't know the square footage, you know, so just being able to combat that and say, hey, based off of this square footage that you think you've got, here's what because then you can still go do a search, right? If they tell you 1,800 square feet, you haven't verified it yet, but they're not going to let you come look at it until you give them a little bit of a range. To keep you safe, you know, you can kind of prematurely look and say, all right, based off if the square footage is accurate, which I don't know if it is, you don't know if it is, because y'all have heard that 100 times, I'm sure, where the seller says, yeah, I've got 1,900 square feet. They don't have any clue how they've got it. That's just what they were told at one time or whatever it is. But they're very, very certain, and you go out and you measure and it's wrong or different. So, but if you take their word for it, like we learned yesterday at the realtor luncheon about deeds, anybody,
It was so good, wasn't it?
yeah,
So good.
and you don't think about this, we're going to have him probably come here and do a couple, like a real quick rundown too. But anybody's name, you know, always ask for the deed, because anybody can go assess a property in their name. Just keep that in mind. So if somebody comes to you and says, I've got this house for sale, just because tax records got their name on it, you can get yourself in a bind real quick with people who don't really own the property.
Because literally, I just look at the tax record.
Yeah.
I don't ever say, well, break out your deed.
Yep. So.
And your license. Are you who you are? I don't do that.
Yeah. So at the realtor luncheon yesterday, Judge Woodruff came and did a little class on, you know, just things they see commonly that are misconstrued or hurdles that you got to get over as agents. You know. So, but anyway, that's all today was. Just and we're gonna have something that y'all can work off of, kind of like the checklist for ClickUp and all that we did for the listing and the buying side of things. Has anybody used that yet since we did it?
Yes. I'm like.
Helpful? Did it help? Okay. she taped one above my computer yesterday, so.
You're not
So did
sure.
So
Did you take one above?
yeah.
I will, I'll come take one.
But yeah, just utilize
everywhere
these
for
things
y'all.
as we throw them in there, and give us feedback too as to whether or not, hey, here's one thing y'all may have forgot, or one thing that I'd like to add. You know, whatever, y'all get creative on that front, but we're gonna do the same thing here to allow you to be able to price something hopefully accurately and quickly. That's what sellers want right now. If it's somebody that you hadn't already built a relationship with, what do they want? They want to know right now what you think it's worth, when you can get it, right? And if it takes you a couple days to even gather some of that information, they've moved on. You're not the only one they're asking. So just keep that in mind too. So, is there any questions on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Good. All right. Any questions about any of that?
I have a question that's not about exactly
Okay.
that. It's just something I'm wondering.
Freestyle. Yeah.
And back when people paying way overpriced just because they wanted the house and there weren't enough houses to go around.
Yeah.
What about the appraisals? I know you said you couldn't find appraisers, but
There
A
were
lot of them-
escalation clauses in the appraisals saying that they would pay 30,000 over appraised value. And so that was on them. They couldn't get the loan for it,
that was.
but
they had
that
to
was
pay to
on
get
them.
the
They had
sacrifice.
So
to,
if they couldn't.
it was
pay
in
the house,
writing, yes.
A lot of mine waived the appraisal.
Yeah.
There was
There was no
contingent
sense
on
in
the
it.
appraisal.
And just like what
So
we're
if
dealing
they're
with
paying
now.
over,
Yeah. We
they're
had to
already
create
gonna
a
start out in the
form.
hole. I
to
never
do
did
that.
understand that. Anyway.
Well, we had to create a form for them to do that. MLS had to create a form for people to sign to do that. So there was an escalation clause that had never been heard of up until 2021, to where people were having to put on there specifically, we want to pay $300,000, but we'll pay up to $320,000, and we're going to go up in 1,000. We want to beat the next highest bid by $1,000.
But then you have you have a cap. I had
They
one, I
capped
had
it at 320.
14, I had 14 offers and like 3 or 4
Yeah.
escalation clauses. Like it was, and that was hard.
Yes.
I mean,
You
it
don't
was
necessarily, I
hard.
mean, it was good, but you don't want, we're in a normal market now, you know, y'all are kind of starting to see, and everybody is busy and starting to have, you know, listing appointments, period, where you hadn't had that in, say, 8 months, you know, where it was as frequent as it is now. So you're in a normal market, the rates are normalized, you know, I think they'll still go down a little bit, but I think they're gonna hover here for a little while. And you can instill confidence in the sellers and the buyers in that rate too, so. But no, just keep on plugging away.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with cost.
Alright.
But I've never been, and you may have done a class on this, I'm sorry, I don't get to come to all of them. When you search an area map on a map, instead of
Or radius.
a radius, I don't know how to do that. Can you show me how to do that?
Why don't we give
Radio show.
Yeah. I got you.
The reason we
She
did-
can later.
No,
But I
yeah, she
mean,
can do it.
I'll show you right now.
The reason we, and you can, I'm not saying you can turn it, the reason